crafty friends, I'm Lien from Studio Katoa and I'm so happy to be joining you again today on the Crafty Meraki YouTube channel. Today I have a really simple mini slimline card to share with you using the newly released Party Balloons mini slimline die set. It's such a fun die. I love balloons. They're perfect for birthday cards. And this die is perfect to make a set of cards as well. Especially in the way I'm doing this, I die cut this first out of white cardstock and I saved just the outline. And to fill in all the balloons, I'm doing some die cut inlay and I just die cut it out of 5 additional colors of cardstock. So I will have a lot of balloons left over by the end of this and a lot of colored outlines as well, which would make perfect additional cards. Now I am just figuring out where to place each color first. I am taking my time with this. This is what I love, combining colors and figuring out where to arrange them best on my card. It takes a while. I think the raw footage of this was 5 minutes, so I spent 5 minutes just piecing together balloons and not even adhering anything. Now with this card, I stepped it up twice. So I am basically going to show you 3 ways you could have made this card. A simple way, a slightly less simple way, and I don't even want to call it a difficult way because these are all very, very, very easy to do. But it's just, each step took me an additional 10 minutes or so, not even that. So if you need a quick card, you stop at the first step. If you need just a fun, pretty card, you go on. They're all pretty. It's just a couple ways to step this design up a little bit. Now, once I was happy with the color placement, I placed the balloons back on my desk, but I made sure they were all facing the right way up. So I am going to add some shading with ink blending, and I wanted to make sure that my shadows were all on the same side, the right side. Doesn't really matter which side you choose, but it helps if the balloons are in the correct position before you start ink blending, because it's going to look a little bit weird if one of them has shading on the other side. And the way I like to ink blend tiny pieces like this is I just adhere a piece of painter's tape upside down on my work surface. So the sticky side is up and there it's adhered down with 2 additional pieces of painter's tape on the sides. This just holds the die cuts in place while I ink blend. By the end of it, it's not that sticky anymore, so you see me using my fingers to hold the die cuts anyway. But you can just not be lazy and replace the painter's tape. And I'm using Pinkfish Studio inks for this. I don't even know where the cardstock is from. I collect cardstock from various different places and I never keep the packaging, so your guess is as good as mine as at this point. But I just chose inks that match the cardstock pretty well. I did go for quite a dramatic shading because I know some of these cardstocks absorb the ink a little bit more. So I wanted there to be shading left once the cardstock had absorbed some of that ink. Once everything is ink blended, I can put everything together, and this is so satisfying to me because it's just like filling in a puzzle, but a really easy one. So I am just adhering this outline die cut onto a light blue piece of cardstock because that's what I'm going to make my background. I just chose to use a light blue background instead of a white one. Thought that would look nicer with that white outline, but you can do it either way. Once that die cut is adhered down, I can fill in some of the balloons with some more liquid adhesive. I do a couple at a time, but not all of them because I don't want the glue to dry. And then I just piece together the balloons, and they're quite big pieces. There are not a lot of them, so this goes really quickly. That purple one is probably the tiniest one out of the whole bunch, and I still didn't use my jewel picker for that. But if you have tiny die cut pieces to inlay, just use your jewel picker to pick it up and inlay it into your design. That's what I usually do. These pieces were just not small enough for that. And once these are inlaid, you can stop there. That is the first step. You will have gorgeous bright colors, and the inlay effect is really, really fun. I love an inlay effect where everything is at the same level. Well, the background is one level lower, but this would be a really fun card already. I decided to step it up a tiny bit just by adding some dots of white gel pen. You can roam your stash and figure out which pattern papers to use, but I always have trouble with that. I never have the right patterns and the right colors. So I figured I would just make my own pattern with some white dots. This is very, very basic, but it's just a little bit more fun than just leaving them plain, right? So I did that for only a couple of the balloons because I did want some solid ones in there. It would have been a little bit busy if all of them had polka dots, but that's it. That's the second step. You just add a couple of details with white gel pen. The third step is stepping up the dimension of your card. And I'm doing that by just die cutting 2 additional frames or outlines of thick white cardstock and adhering those together and on top of my design. So while I love the inlay die cut look of having everything level with each other, it's a really fun look and it's just very unique. But I also really love dimension, so I definitely prefer this for these balloons, just some additional dimension on that outline. That is how I finished this card. I didn't even add a sentiment. I love the balloons so much. I didn't want to cover any of them up. And I didn't even add any gems, which is a miracle at this point. I usually always add bling. But this is such a fun design, and I didn't think it needed much more. It was really quick to make. I think the first step, without any additional details or additional dimension, took me 20 minutes to achieve, with die cutting included. So this was really, really fast to do. You can easily make multiples of this. This would be perfect to make a set of birthday cards to gift someone. It's just a really fun die, I think. I hope you like it too, and I hope to see you next time.